The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on policy communication, Daniel Bwala, says the federal government is preparing to disclose the identities of individuals and networks funding terrorism in Nigeria. President Donald Trump has voiced optimism following talks between U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Florida today, though Secretary of State Marco Rubio cautioned that there is more work to be done on a deal to end the Russia-Ukrainian war. Finally, in sport, Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen says he is ready to return to the pitch for their crucial Super League match day 14 game against rivals Fenerbahce today, Monday. My name is Chioma Vickwemeka. Thank you very much for joining us. Now on the news in full. The special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on policy communication, Daniel Bwala, says the federal government is preparing to disclose the identities of individuals and networks funding terrorism in Nigeria. Bwala, who spoke during an interview on Sunday, said the administration is taking far-reaching decisions on national security that will become evident to Nigerians soon. He noted that terrorism has evolved into a threat that extends beyond national borders and now requires international collaboration to curb its spread. The presidential aide explained that global powers are increasingly recognizing the need to support countries like Nigeria, where extremist groups have attempted to expand their operations. We are following up on the stories and we will keep updating you. Moving things along, the senior special assistant to President Bola Tinubu on foreign affairs and protocol, Ademola Oshodi, has defended the president's latest ambassadorial nominations, insisting that the selections reflect the president's judgment of what is best for his administration and for the country. Speaking during an interview today, Monday, Oshodi said political appointments to diplomatic positions were a global practice. He noted that the president and prime ministers worldwide routinely nominate trusted allies or individuals with long-standing relationships. Oshodi stressed that Nigerians must respect the president's prerogative, adding that those questioning the quality of the nominees misunderstand the electoral mandate. The presidential aide maintained that his principal alone carries the mandate to decide what is best for the country's governance. Still on the news, the federal government has reportedly proposed a 40% salary increase for lecturers under the Academic Staff Union of Universities. Sources familiar to the development told newsmen in Abuja. The proposal comes as ASUU leadership prepares to return to the negotiation table with the federal government's delegation headed by Yayale Ahmed. The union's decision follows a consensus reached at the National Executive Council meeting held in Abuja on Sunday. Branch leaders who attended the meeting are expected to communicate the development to their members nationwide. Speaking at the end of the NEC meeting, a member who preferred anonymity due to restrictions on media engagement during negotiations said the union would continue discussions with the government. ASUU's one-month ultimatum to the federal government ended last Saturday, heightening tension within the academic community of Nigerian public universities. In last-minute move to avert a potential strike, the government had summoned ASUU leadership to a meeting in Abuja on Monday, which lasted until Tuesday. We will take a break right now. When we return on the news, amid rising killings, mass abductions, and growing insecurity across Nigeria, several state houses of assembly have begun moves to consider the creation of state police. These and other stories will come your way after this time out. Stay with us. Glad to have you back here on the news. Amid rising killings, mass abductions, and growing security failures across Nigeria, several state houses of assembly have begun moves to consider the creation of state police. Along it's been there debated reform that President Bola Tinubu last week urged the National Assembly to legalize as part of sweeping constitutional amendments. Nigeria has recently witnessed a resurgence of violent banditry and terrorist attacks, while kidnapping syndicates continue to overwhelm overstretched federal security agencies, with fewer than 400,000 federal police officers policing over 200 million Nigerians. Many communities remain unprotected a vacuum, experts say, fuels the worsening insecurity. Last week, President Tinubu declared a security emergency and directed the police and armed forces to recruit more personnel. He also called on the National Assembly to pass laws enabling states to establish state police where needed. The proposal is part of the ongoing constitution review by the National Assembly, which Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu said would soon move to the 36 state assemblies. Away from Nigeria, President Donald Trump has voiced optimism following talks between U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Florida today, though Secretary of State Marco Rubio cautioned that there is more work to be done on a deal to end the Russia-Ukrainian war. Rubio emphasized that Russia needs to weigh in on key sticking points when a U.S. delegation visits Moscow this week. Trump is also maintaining his pressure campaign against Venezuela, which the administration says is aimed at cutting off the flow of drugs from South America. Democratic lawmakers and some Republicans have expressed alarm about Trump's use of the military in the region as he threatens potential land strikes in Venezuela. President Trump is doubling down on aggressive anti-immigration policies after last week's shooting of 2 National Guard members in Washington, D.C. An Afghan national is suspected of carrying out the attack. Finally, in sports, Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen says he is ready to return to the pitch for their crucial Super League match day 14 game that's against rivals Fenerbahce today, Monday. The striker has missed their last 2 matches after sustaining a hamstring injury on international duty with Nigeria. Galatasaray confirmed 2 weeks ago that the forward had begun treatment after undergoing a scan for the knock he picked up during Nigeria's defeat to DR Congo in the final of the 2026 World Cup African playoffs. Although Galatasaray did not disclose a specific recovery timeline, Osimhen have been tipped to be fit enough for the derby, having missed the league clash and the UEFA Champions League defeat at home to USG. According to Turkish journalist Mehmet Özkan, the player has told his teammates he's ready to take a risk and give 100%. Well, with that story on Osimhen, we'll wrap it up. Let's look at the top stories once again. We told you that the special advisor to President Bola Tinubu on policy communication, Daniel Bwala, says the federal government is preparing to disclose the identities of individuals and networks funding terrorism in Nigeria. President Donald Trump has voiced optimism following talks between U.S. and Ukrainian officials in Florida today, though Secretary of State Marco Rubio cautioned that there is more work to be done and a deal to end the Russia-Ukrainian war. Finally, Galatasaray striker Victor Osimhen says he is ready to return to the pitch for their crucial Super League match day 14 game against rivals Fenerbahce today, Monday. Well, that's it on the news today, 1st of December. Happy new month and many thanks for joining us. My name is Chioma Victor. Stay with us and do have a smashing day ahead of you. Thank you for joining.